Hey everyone, it's Alexis with Create Your Future. I am back with a brand new video. Happy Monday. And today we are starting off the week by focusing on how to manifest making any relationship better. Okay. So if this speaks to you, it could be applied to a friendship. It could be applied to your SP. It could be applied to how do we create more connection, more communication, more affection, more love, whatever you're wanting with a specific person, how to do that. And also today, I'm touching upon how to use other techniques, other things besides just changing your thoughts and just doing affirmations, using a client success story, of course, to illustrate how different ways apply to different people. Before I get started, the links for booking one-on-one coaching, one-on-one hypnosis, all the goodies about me are in the box below. And without further ado, let's talk about this, you guys. Okay, so first of all, your thoughts create, and your thoughts create the sensation, the expectation, the assumption, and therefore the belief in your body influences your subconscious mind. It projects, it pushes out, it creates the movie outside of you that is still an illusion. Even if it's what you want, it's still an illusion. That is your reality. Okay? So again, your thoughts transmit information to your subconscious. Your subconscious pushes out into your reality. Okay. So the people that you have in your reality are who you have created them to be. What they are doing, how they are acting is who you have thought them into being. That is all that is happening. Now, the recreation process, thinking new, differently, recreating people is very nuanced for each person. And that's because each of us is like a unique snowflake. No snowflake is the same as another, right? And that's how our minds are created. All of us have a certain learning style, a way that we interpret information, a way that we easily manifest is the thing. So if you're finding manifesting and really consciously creating your life difficult, then that makes a lot of sense because you are going against the grain of how you've always been. And if you're feeling like a lot isn't happening, but so much is happening within you, then you're usually on the right track too. Because I also want to, say my opinion is that manifesting, I have never said in a video, and I'm saying right now, is not easy, meaning that once you get the hang of it, it gets easier. But changing self, changing you, really, really creating the change within you, it does take persistence, consistency, dependability, staying the course with what you want, no matter what is happening. Now, it's easier said than done for certain people, but it is generally not an easy process to get the hang of. It's learning a whole new habit. You are learning in this way that your reality, truthfully, once and for all, comes from you. What most of us have learned throughout our entire lifetimes is that reality comes at us, happens to us, and therefore we are at the effect of reality, right? And consciously creating any aspect of your life, whether it be money, relationships, family, friendships, SP, okay? It is putting you at cause, putting you at complete autonomy, sovereignty. I'm the one creating it. I'm the one manifesting it. I'm the one changing it. I'm responsible for being persistent, consistent, accountable to what I'm manifesting, okay? This is going to be a roundabout video, apparently. I'm doing a lot of talking today with my hands. Okay, so in any event, you guys, you want to figure out what is the way that I can easily manifest that which is difficult and learn how to cultivate this new habit, which is being a conscious creator, okay? So all of us have one major learning style. Either you are primarily visual, you are primarily auditory, or you are primarily feeling oriented in your body. Now, all of us, though, have all three, right? So we understand that we want to feel a certain way and want to think a certain way, want to be a certain way within, and then it out pictures into reality, right? But predominantly speaking, you want to ask yourself, how have I always learned things? Now, usually people I talk to are either predominantly visual or auditory, okay? That's why I have affirmation hypnosis recordings that are affirmations. They are generally meant, now anyone can use them and anyone really can get a benefit. But the people that I have them for are auditory people. And I've never said this in a video. If you are auditory, you learn through sound. Okay. You learn through listening, which means that if you are doing affirmations to change your reality as an adjunct for you, you could record them and listen to them. Okay. Now, if you're someone that primarily learns visually, then auditory sounds, listening to your own voice, you might be like, it's not for me. I so just don't get it. It doesn't click. Okay. A visual person could see their affirmations, see them written, see them on a notebook, see them like on a whiteboard, write them on note cards and see them around them. And the seeing of the new thoughts would create an imprint through the visual cortex. And then it would easily impress into the subconscious and bam, happen out there. I want you to think of it like this. If you are doing affirmations and you're changing your thoughts, what can you add on that you identify is helpful for you? Okay. I just want to add that in today because I hear from a lot of people, okay, so Alexis in session, right? I'm giving them a mental diet. I'm saying, I want you to think this about you. I want you to think this about them. I want you to think this about the relationship. There's always 3 areas. Okay. The primary one being, what are you thinking about you? Who are you describing yourself as? How are you being, right? So I will oftentimes give the mental diet. Some people will say to me, okay, so this is all I'm supposed to do. I am just supposed to think these thoughts and then like, it's going to happen. Like, that's it. Like, I'm just supposed to not do anything, right? So I've come up with these different ways of giving different things to different people. And I listen to what they're saying and I ask them questions about how have you learned this? How have you learned that? And I want to offer it today in the video. You don't have to only rely on affirmations in the mental diet, but you do need to change your thoughts because your thoughts create your feelings, create the projection, create the movie in your mind. Once again, it projects onto your reality. So I'm not saying to only listen to an audio recording or to only create note cards that you look at. You got to do a bit of a couple of things. The most important thing being, what am I thinking? What thoughts am I holding on to? And who am I describing myself to be within that which I am manifesting? Okay. So the client that I am referencing today, she recreated her husband, who she had been married to for five and a half years. By the time she came to coaching, they had been married 5.5 years. They had been through one period of infidelity that was 2.5 years ago. And she was now staying with him, but there was a lot of residual anger, resentment, and she was in a very low place about herself and about him and about the relationship. Okay. So, and I had listened to what she was saying, and she just felt very anxious with just having affirmations. So because I figured out and I asked her questions and I said, okay, you seem to me to be very visually oriented in your mind. Do you agree with me? Do you think that's true? Would you learn a recipe through watching it on YouTube? Could you learn a recipe by watching someone come to your house and showing you how to do it? I said, or could you learn a recipe through an audiobook? Again, visual, auditory. Okay. And she said, oh, no, you're right. I'm totally visual. I haven't thought about this since like grade school. Okay. And I said, okay, so I want you to write the affirmations on note cards. I want you to put them around. I want you to look at them. I want you to have them on your phone. I want you to see the affirmations in your mind like a visual exercise. Okay. Now we have had a bit of recreating of her husband to do, which means changing how she's describing him, how she's seeing him in her mind, who she is deciding him to be. Now, again, this is not easy at first for most people, but the more you do it, the more you develop a habit of understanding. Again, my reality comes from me. It's an out picture of me. I decide who they are. I describe who they are. And you guys, I want to say, like I've said always, it has nothing to do perhaps with who they've been. It's who you're deciding, who you're creating they are. And so with this situation, we had a lot of uncovering to do about what happened because of the infidelity. What did she associate? What did she think about herself? And then what did she still think he was? And who she created him to be came from a whole bunch of other scenarios that we uncovered. Because you guys, your reality itself is not created just by a coincidence or just, I think so bad about this person. It's usually because of a way that you felt about other people that you transmit onto another person. Okay. Now, for her to turn this around and for her to really figure this out, it did take, I would say, some time of highly charged emotions of sadness, regret, and there was a lot of anger that she was processing. Okay. So again, I never said this would be easy, but I will say that the results of consciously manifesting your relationship, your partner, your SP, the results of experiencing finally once and for all the love, the adoration when you create it on purpose, there's nothing like it. Okay. And the results that you will feel of the culmination of your final manifestation, which is never really the final, there's always something next. Okay. I want to correct myself, is also a very amazing feeling. And there's nothing like it. So it's worth it. If you are in the middle of manifesting someone or something, I want to keep you on track today and say, you can do it. You've got it. If it feels difficult, it will get easier. Okay. All right. So let's think about that. And I want you to think about that today. The other representation of the learning style that I didn't mention was feeling oriented people. I don't bring this up as much because it's not as common. And in the manifestation community, we have a lot of feeling is the secret, create by the feeling that you already have it. So I don't want to confuse the two. But a feeling oriented person would be kinesthetic in nature. And they will say a lot of things like, do you get me? I get it. I've got it. Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Is what we learned in NLP for a feeling kinesthetic person. So like if you were to say to me, are you getting, Alexis would never say, are you getting what I'm putting down? Or do you get me? I might say, I get to feel a certain way, or I get to have a certain thing and then see it in my mind. Okay. But think about this. What statement resonates with you? That looks good to me. That sounds good to me, or I get it. Okay. And that could lead you to think manifesting through primarily feeling, which is another topic of how do we feel appropriately. If you're a feeling oriented person, you would feel differently about the person, differently about you, differently about the relationship, and manifesting when you feel good, which we all though need to do. If you manifest through sounds, it's incorporating an audio. Okay. It's incorporating, like I have hypnosis affirmation tracks. I'm not trying to sell them here or push them on anyone, but recording your affirmations in an audio that you hear would work for you. If you're visual, seeing, sight, looking, seeing the new thoughts, right? Now for the kinesthetic person, it would be feeling the thought, resonating with the thought, being in a deep resonance with the thought. Okay. Just saying, these are other options. And with this client, we had her do an add-on to her affirmations because she was just really, 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 first of all, when she first began working with me, she was in such disbelief that she could do this, right? She was in such disbelief and in such a low place with herself, but she really felt like this was a last ditch effort. It was the last thing she could do. The last option was really changing herself and being mentored on how to navigate through that. Okay, so let me get to her success story. Okay. Dear Alexis, thank you so much for all of the patience, all of the kindness, and all of the confidence that you also had in me over the past 3 months. I can say that it has totally been such a whirlwind, and I cannot believe that I was there and I am here. You know what I mean that when I say that I was there, being I was in the lowest place, I was in my own dark night of the soul, and I was having so many days getting out of bed, pressing forwards, moving on with my day, and just going about normal activities. Now I come to being here, quote unquote, being here, and I have reclaimed my sense of value, my sense of worth, my sense of lovability, and also my attractiveness. I remember there that I felt so, she's got some adult language. I'm so awful about myself, had no confidence. I had no sense of self-worth or self-value, and that led me to question, wonder, and doubt my SP. Just so anyone who knows that reads this, my SP is my husband. By the time that I got coaching with Alexis, we had been married for 5.5 years, and everything felt like it was going downhill. He had engaged in infidelity 2 or 3 years prior. And because of the place that I was in, all I wanted to do was figure it out, make it work, and get back together with him. And that had caused me to shove down my emotions, shove down my negative thoughts, and then persist forwards, ... And that led me to only be more miserable. I also did many Save Your Marriage courses, Get Him Back courses, How to Be a Brand New Woman courses, and all of that led me to be more and more confused. I realize now that what I really had to change was my assumptions of self, my assumptions of him, and my assumptions of what our marriage could be. I will be honest too, that by the time I booked with Alexis, I had totally lost hope. I was giving up on everything, and he and I were growing further and further apart. So much so that he was already sleeping in a different room, and he was talking about spending the summer apart. And now I can honestly say that here comes my success story. We are now planning on spending the summer together and in a secret town, a villa in Italy that he planned for himself. It's almost like it came together overnight, but I realized that once it began to happen overnight, it was a culmination of many conversations, many instances where he was able to really open up to me, tell me how he was feeling, and that was our road back together, being more emotional, more connected, and more sure and committed to each other than ever before. I realize now that there was so much fear in me after the first infidelity that I was never able to get past it, never able to move on from it. But now I know that it's all up to me. And now he's constantly making it up to me. He's doing so many things for me I can't even count. He planned our trip. He's told me that it's at a secret villa in Italy and that I can't even know too much about it. He's so excited to spend the summer with me. And he's even talking about us having a re-engagement and even him doing a re-proposal. Alexis, I can't thank you enough for, again, being so compassionate, holding my hand and being my guiding light during this whole process. I had totally given up hope. And now, most of all, I have complete hope and complete confidence in my ability to focus and manifest the version of me that I want to, and also the version of him that I deserve. Thank you, XO. P.S. I also want to add that the nuances that you gave me to the mental diet, the other things you had me do also helped, including the red lingerie. XO. All right, that's a little bit of a thing that we did that was more of a, get her back with her sexual self kind of energy thing that I have had some clients do over the years. Like I've said in all my videos, coaching with me is very nuanced, it's very specific, and it's very individual. It is not the same with everyone, and there is not one list of affirmations that I give everyone. And I will say too, that what really helped her was talking about finally hashing out, finally uncovering all the emotions that she had really shoved down and really put aside from 2 or 3 years ago. It actually reminds me of so many people I've talked to recently and just over the years who have had an experience with the person that they're manifesting that they never really faced. They never really thought about, and that they kind of shoved it down, didn't think about it, put it aside, and then it all comes out when they begin to consciously manifest them. Okay. So again, though, the basic thing that we all need to focus on with specific people is who have I been? Who do I want to be? And then who do I want them to be? Now, the who do I want to be and who do I want them to be is way bigger and way more possible and is so much more potential than most people even think that it has at first, because I am asking you to define out of the universe of possibilities, not just, oh, they call me, they're communicative, they're constantly communicating, they buy me flowers on my birthday. No, right? I want you to really think about, how do I want to illustrate and design and define my specific person inside of me? Now, again, I also want to add right now, you could experiment with this. If you're doing this with an SP that's a romantic person, and if there's like a lot of years of stuff like this client, perhaps choosing a friend or a sibling or a child, if you're a mom or a dad, picking someone that's a specific person that isn't the actual romantic specific person. That could also be kind of a way to get your mind to understand that recreating and changing people isn't so difficult. It's just, again, a new skill, a new habit. So it isn't easy at first, because also none of us have been taught to do this. All of us have been taught very, basic things about people, like their word is oak. If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted you, they would do something. He's just not that into you. She's just not into you. All this stuff we hear socially, societally, leads us to think that people are who they are. Well, I'm here to tell you, they are who they are right now, but they can be who you want to be, but you have to decide who you want them to be first, right? And I asked her this multiple times. I said, I need you to define even more so for me who you want him to be, because you still haven't decided, right? You still have not made up your mind, because she would go, I want this, and then I kind of want that, and I want this. And I would say, no, I need you to spend the weekend deciding who you want him to be. And I gave her lots of exercises. If you work with me, you know that I give lots of exercises, written exercises, journaling things, watching movies, figuring out information and data in your reality of how can I use this to illustrate my reality, my relationship differently. Okay. She also had to define how she wanted them to be, because again, her reality comes from her. So I said, you've got to decide how you want the marriage to be now, because she had also decided she was staying with the guy, right? There had been a betrayal and infidelity, which not the first client of mine, by the way, that's had this. If you've had this happen, don't be embarrassed. All sessions are confidential. You can tell me anything. I'm a secret keeper. Okay. And there's no judgment either. It's really up to you. I am here to facilitate you, helping you create what you want to create. Okay. In any event, she said, yeah. And she was even embarrassed to tell me. And I said, listen, I am not someone to be embarrassed to tell. You've decided we need to move on from it. We cannot stay in the past, holding on to the self-embarrassment, the self-resentment, the self-regret. We need to think of self differently, right? And I said, you staying in the emotions of anger, resentment, guilt, resentment are keeping you from thinking about the potential and the possibility of what could be in the relationship. And also choosing to think that he loves you now more than ever, that he only sees you, only wants you, and only needs you all of the time. Now, as I say those phrases, you guys, that's part of a mental diet. And even that is not something that we're taught that we can have in relationships. Most of us are generally taught, what do we hear also? Relationships are so hard. They take so much work. It's so difficult. Our values don't align. He wants one thing. I want another. She wants one thing. I want another. We're not on the same page. We got to get on the same page. Okay. Okay. So instead of all that, we want to be thinking, oh, we are lining up our values. Our values are the same now. We're figuring things out together in the most beautiful way. We are creating consistent connection, emotion, fun, playfulness, lovability. Our love gets better and better and more consistent and more connected the longer we're together and the more we are together, instead of like, other things we hear, 7-year itch. It's only good in the beginning. It's only good in the honeymoon phase. Again, those are all concepts that create beliefs, that create assumptions that outpicture. So we don't want those either. So it's like, Alexis, what do we want? Well, it's up to you. Again, it's up to you, but you have to really first decide and define that you want something that maybe you've never seen. Maybe you've never actually known anyone besides people in a movie that have this, right? But getting some conceptual idea will help you create your mental diet, how you're describing your relationship, how you're describing who you are, who you're describing yourself to be, how you're describing them to be, right? Because again, your thoughts about it, create it, that's it. Now, if you want to add something in, you can, like I said, put your affirmations on note cards and look at them. If you really feel you're a visual person, you can listen to affirmations in a self-recorded audio. If you're an auditory person, you can make sure that you have resonance and complete connectivity with the feeling center in your body if you're a kinesthetic person, right? But not negating that we all have feelings. And this is not about feeling is the secret. This is learning styles that you have built within you that are a manifestation way to bring everything to you with the quickest way possible, but the way that's the easiest, the way where it feels like it will feel most effortless for you. There's a way about this that it can be less difficult, right? But learning a new skill, consciously creating your reality for a lot of people is just difficult because they've always thought it always been one way and always seen their SP one way. And we're asking you here to see them differently, think of them differently, be different. Like, just be totally different than you've been. Think of yourself totally differently, right? It doesn't sound so easy to me, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, okay? So it is also the most rewarding. The most rewarding is finally being loved and adored, chosen, wanted, cherished, and treasured by the person of your choosing and seeing that through for the future, okay? So I intend that this video has been useful, applicable to whatever you're manifesting, whatever your relationship. And if you are manifesting for a romantic SP, try this on some other people. Try recreating someone, how you're describing someone within that is not them, to get yourself motivated, consistent, to continue being dependable to your own manifestation. All right, you guys, you got this. Remember to honor yourself today, Put yourself first. Think highly of yourself. Love yourself truly with your self-talk and your self-chatter. Really tell yourself how valuable you believe you are, because you are, okay? And I will see you in my next video. Have an awesome week. Bye.